This is a Hot Pie Media original.
Okay, so let's talk about sin. It's the week of sin. You are an expert in covering the sin, and it is the largest. It's the second. I looked it up. The second largest bet ever on the Super Bowl. It's at $4.534 million. It's only behind a $4.9 million bet in 2002. Tell the story.
Okay, so Mattress Mac, who owns the big furniture gallery store in Houston, is a well-known sports bettor. He loves to make these outrageous, really huge bets on games, and he uses it as a hedge because what he does is he tells people, and this is his promotion for the Super Bowl, he says, look, if you come in and you spend more than $3,000 on a dining room set or a mattress or reclining furniture for your living room, and the Bengals win the Super Bowl, I'm going to refund your purchase. And so if the Bengals win, he's going to be out a lot of money. And so he goes and he bets on the Bengals to win as a hedge for the promotion, which seems reasonable. But what if the Bengals lose? Then he's out $4.5 million. He's like, yeah. I said, are you going to sell $4.5 million of furniture? He's like, I'm going to sell $15 million to $20 million.
Oh, come on.
That's what he told me. And you know what? This guy, in the interview that I posted online, we're mostly talking about the gambling and the promotions and all of that, because that's what I cover for CNBC. But he also told me his whole business theory. I said, I wanted to talk to him about supply chain and worker shortages and things like that. And he said, I don't have any worker shortages. I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, for one thing, if you pay people right, they want to work for you. And he goes, and I offer breakfast, lunch, and dinner for free for all of my workers. He said, we have training so that people can come in and continue to get job promotions. And he said, I have on-site daycare. I really believe in treating my workers like family. And I got to tell you, in talking to him, I just thought, what an impressive approach. I mean, gambling aside, what an impressive approach to business. Compare that to Peloton, who, they're going to lay off all of these workers, thousands of workers. But you know what they will do? They're going to give you a 12-month subscription.
You're fired, but you got a subscription. Congratulations.
Yeah. So get out there and hustle. Finding a new job, and in your spare time, get on your Peloton.
I'm going to separate. Separate Peloton for a second. Yeah.
So he's going to make this big bet. Normally, when he makes these bets, he has to fly to Colorado. He said this time he drove 100 miles to the Louisiana border, pulled over a convenience store, whipped out his phone, and he said, I tried to make the whole bet at once, $4.5 million. He goes, but it wasn't working. Caesars Sportsbook tells me it's possible that he could do it in one bet. But anyway, so he made multiple bets with $200,000 and $500,000. He finally gets to that number, and he said, but I don't think it was that glamorous. The people at the convenience store were kind of sitting out there wondering why I was just sitting in my phone in my car on the phone at the time. What a character! Yeah, no,
he's a piece of work.
So what does your wife think about this? He goes, oh, I'm probably going to be in the doghouse for a while. He goes, but I've been there before. I'll get out.
Okay, so he has to. So it's almost 4.6 million. And he's going to win. If the Bengals win, I guess it's straight up. I think the line is they're a 4.5 point underdog or a 4 point underdog or something like that. They win, he wins almost 8 million, correct?
Yeah, I think it was like 7.7.
Yeah.
I was told there would be no math. So
he has to, he just does 200,000 cent. I mean, is that how you have to do that?
Yeah, I guess some of the bets were $500,000
okay.
each. And before he drove all that way, he called Caesars Sportsbook to say, hey, are you guys, if I do this, will you accept my bet? And I said, what's been your experience? Why did you think that was important? He goes, because other sports books either don't let me do it. They don't want to take the risk of having to pay out, or they'll change the odds. They'll let me bet it, but then they give me different odds than they're running for general customer.
Right.
He goes into Caesars Sportsbook's credit. They didn't do that. And in fact, Caesars is using it as a big marketing tool that Mattress Mac has chosen them.
They have, this is your field, but the week has already had the most bets ever, correct? John McClellan is the co-founder and creator of ATX Hot Sauce, now in all 50 states and several retail outlets as well. So what we're going to do today is we're going to let this social media rock star chef walk us through 4 different sauces, and then I'll taste and we'll tell everyone why they should buy. You can give the science behind these, and then I'll make the simple recommendation. Go to atxhotsauce.com. All right,
I don't think anybody's heard the website.
Yeah, I know.
By you, Jeff,
I've never heard that.
It is atxhotsauce.com.
I'll say
I got that one right.
45 times, atxhotsauce.com. So let's do it.
I brought 4 flavors here, and we're going to test your palate today.
Okay.
And I only brought 4 because I didn't think you could handle 5 or 6.
Yes,
probably a smart move. Yeah. And so the first one we're going to try here, it's called Beet Heat. And just like the name implies, it has beets in it. It's made with red Fresno peppers. Red Fresnos are red peppers that are they're hotter than a jalapeno and a little bit less than a serrano. So not super hot here, just a lot of really good flavor. So we're going to start with this one, and then we're going to move up the chain.
Okay. I've had the Beet Heat, but okay.
Yeah, we're going to try it though.
It goes well with a cab. All right, Jeff's savoring Beet
I'll
Heat.
even do it with you, so that should be all right. Now remember, it is hot sauce.
Yeah. Oh, it is. It's hot sauce. Trust me, man.
Wait, is that one hot to you?
No, a little.
Yeah. The great thing with the fermentation process is you get a bunch of the flavor right up front.
Yeah.
And then the heat comes, but then it dissipates pretty quickly, especially with the red Fresnos. This is not a very spicy one, but it is a very tasty one. Goes on great on sandwiches.
Beet Heat.
Beet Heat. B-E-E-T. Heat.
All right. Go to atxhotsauce.com.
That's right.
This is going to have, it's hard to tell because the companies are not necessarily reporting how many bets they're taking in. And remember, some of what gets reported as gross gaming revenue. So this isn't handle. Handle is how much money gets wagered.
Right.
Revenue is how much money they're bringing in on top of their hold. It's their hold. In New York and a bunch of other states, this is really interesting. The companies have to report their promotional spend as gaming revenue. So Caesars in New York is actually paying, on the taxes, 51% on not only the revenue that they're bringing in, but on top of whatever they've spent to lure people onto their site.
Wow.
So instead of being a business, normally your marketing expense is a business expense. You might deduct that from your taxes. In this case, you're actually paying more tax. Because
a business expense that is turned into, I guess, on a balance sheet revenue. That's counterproductive and counterintuitive.
But now in Colorado, that's not the case.
Oh, wow.
And what's happened is the expectation that Colorado had for state tax revenue has not been met in large part because the hold percentages here, the revenue is really small. It's a much smaller margin than what you see in casino gaming, maybe 7% or 8%. And luck matters, like how does the sports book do compared to how does the gambler do? And when favorites win, the sports book loses. So at any rate, I digress. So the point is the states that said, no, we're not going to tax you on your promotional spend like gambling revenue have not reached the same level of tax revenue that states that are taxing it.
Okay. So back to Mattress Mac. He drives, does he just get straight, like right at the border and he pulls over at whatever convenience store?
He said it was like a mini mart convenience store.
The first one he could find once he crosses the border. Because, and I don't try to place bets on my phone here in Texas, but so if he just left his house and drove to a convenience store in Houston or East Texas or wherever and tried to make that bet, the Jeep
wouldn't work.
Okay.
So it's not supposed to work.
Yeah.
There are the big geofencing company. This is the company that puts in the technology that recognizes state lines. So before New York legalized it, you had all these people going into New Jersey. GeoComply was the one that would recognize where you are and whether you can bet. It's not perfect. Remember when New York first legalized mobile sports betting, I tried to get on and it didn't recognize that I was in New York State. So I couldn't make a bet. And GeoComply was very concerned about that and said, we can't have the gaming reporter not able to do it. Can we please fix your phone? I think they're setting
Does this, that's a kind of a fascinating concept. The technical fencing is pretty, who pays them? And do they own?
The casino companies?
Okay.
It's a vendor, it's a licensed technology, but the gaming regulators have to sign off on who's supplying it. So it has to be a trustworthy company. So there were multiple companies who did this, and then there were issues. And so GeoComply has kind of come ahead of the pack in terms of supplying this geolocation services. And it's, I talked to the CEO and I said, where's your growth potential here? Is it just with states continuing to legalize gambling? And she said, no, we're just finding that we have a lot more because we recognize where people are. We have data that in financial services, for cryptocurrency services, that there's all kinds of applications for this particular technology.
Wow. I like that business model.
It's not for people who want to invest in it, though, it's a private company. So you'd have to go at an investment in a private company that's not public.
Okay, so he makes the bet in increments. I mean, obviously you have to have you have to have either the right credit or whatever. So he makes the bet. When the Bengals win, no, not win. I don't think they will.
And you just said when.
I know. I corrected myself. I don't think they will. By the way,
it kind of seems like a Freudian slip.
Oh my gosh. Like you're killing me here. Like it is? How is it Freudian? In what way?
You said when the Bengals
I know.
And in your subconscious,
oh boy,
you actually believe that the Bengals are going to win.
I do not. I'm correcting myself. I'm going Jungian now, right? What's the opposite of Freud? I'm going to go Jungian on you. And that about dreams or something? I don't know what Jungian is. I vaguely remember the class.
Listen, I majored in psychology for a bit in college.
Okay, well, Jungian stuff and all that, right? Which one do you subscribe to, Freudian or Jungian?
Well, Freudian gets into a lot of weird stuff about your childhood.
Yeah, a lot of sex references in there, so... If you want to.
I'm okay with just like, what's your motivation today? Can we live in the moment? Carpe diem.
Thanks for listening. You can find more episodes and all of our other Hot Pie Media originals baked fresh daily at our home online at hotpiemedia.com, the Hot Pie Media YouTube channel, or wherever you listen to podcasts.